himself and carry the cross. Love so amazing. Love so amazing. Jesus Messiah, name above all names. Blessed Redeemer,
sir. I fully understand. Yes, I've worked with this prosecutor before. Yes, he's cunning. Yes, he's wise. Yes, he's very yes, he's very well known. I have this, sir. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Oh, you better remember that, counsel. That was a long time ago. We need to let our bygones be bygones. You know, the defendant has a reputation that precedes him. And what I've heard, we're in for a long ride today.
Well, I see that you came dressed for the occasion.
You full of jokes. You full of jokes. You know, this is going to be my biggest case ever. May the best man win.
May the best woman win.
Yes.
Come into it.
God, this is going to be a long day. This is going to be a long day, Lord. Lord, be with me.
All rise. Honorable Judge Marvin Mayhem presiding. The case of the people versus Jesus of Nazareth is now in session. You may be seated.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you are summoned here today to consider a question that has plagued the world for over 2,000 years. Is Jesus the Messiah? The burden of proof is on the people, the prosecutor, to provide evidence beyond a reasonable doubt to prove that the defendant is guilty of the charge against him. You are about to hear testimony from several people whose lives were changed in one way or the other after an encounter with Jesus. I challenge you to listen to the evidence objectively and decide for yourself whether Jesus performed an act of magic or miracles. After everything has been said and everything is done in this court today, you'll be asked to deliberate and decide for once and for all, is Jesus the Messiah? Guards, bring in the accused. I have to say, in all my years of governing in the courtroom, I've never presided over anything quite like this. I've had many people come claiming to be many things, but none has ever claimed to be the Messiah. Will the defendant and the defense attorney please stand as the bailiff read the charges?
The accused, Jesus of Nazareth, is charged with multiple counts of sorcery and blasphemy against the Most High God, malicious destruction of property, disturbing the peace, initiating a riot, disrespecting religious leaders, and influencing people to disregard Mosaic laws. How do you plead?
Not guilty. We believe the evidence will speak for itself.
All right then. Bailiff, call the first witness.
The court calls the potter to the stand. Please raise your right hand. Do you promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Please state your name for the court.
I am Boaz.
You may be seated.
Mr. Prosecutor, you may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Boaz, can you state your occupation for the court, please?
Brother, we were supposed to talk about the terms of my testimony.
Excuse me?
You know.
Mr. Boaz, will you just tell the courtroom your occupation, please?
I am a partner.
And what is your association with the accused?
A very loose one, I'm sure.
I'm sorry, can you be a little bit more specific?
Let me think.
Mr. Boaz, can we please get on with it?
All right, brother. It's a long story.
Can we make it a short story for the court?
Well, to make a long story short, it was me and my wife's wedding day. Well, she wasn't my wife yet. I mean, she was my wife at this point.
Mr. Boaz, can we just please get to the point?
Well, it all happened at the reception after the ceremony. And don't get me wrong, most of my family are God-fearing people, but it only takes a couple bad apples to set it off, if you're catching my drift.
Can you just enlighten us all, please?
Well, we were more than 2 hours into the festivities until we ran out of wine. And come to think of it, it was my wife's relative that drank it all up. I'm sorry, honey.
All right, you ran out of wine, then what, please?
Well, out of nowhere, people were suddenly congratulating me on the tape. Great tasting wine that they were suddenly drinking. I figured someone had stopped by the store on their way to the reception.
Miss Boaz, please stay focused. So can you tell the court what happened with the wine, please, at your reception?
Well, my servants told me that Jesus over there had them fill up the jugs with water. And may I emphasize, it was well water. But anyway, after they filled up the jugs, Jesus did a little abracadabra on it, and somehow he turned the water into wine.
So Jesus did a little magic trick and turned this well water, you say, into wine?
Yeah. Well, just like I said, people were congratulating me on the great tasting wine. But since I didn't want to cause a scandal, I did what any reasonable man would do.
So what did you do, Mr. Boaz?
I took credit for it, of course. It really was some great tasting wine.
Thank you, Mr. Boaz. Your witness.
Mr. Boaz, thank you for your colorful testimony for the prosecutor. But now I wanted to ask you, did you see Jesus do any satanic power or abracadabra to change the water into wine?
Well, no. But my servants told me that Jesus told them what to do.
So let's be clear. It was your servants who told you that Jesus told them to put the water into the jug. It was your servants who told you that the water came from the well. And if we tested DNA on the jugs, it would be your servant's DNA. Is that correct?
Well, now that you mention it, yeah.
So then we really can't say Jesus performed any kind of abracadabra or magic to change the water into wine. Is that correct?
Can I think about it a little more?
Well, now that you mention it, it seems to me that Jesus only showed kindness, love, and support for you and your family during your wedding celebration.
Can I think about it a little more?
Well, you go right ahead, sir. No further questions for this witness.
Prosecutor Kettering Cross,
Absolutely not, Your Honor. I'm satisfied.
you excused. Bailiff, call the next witness, please.
The court calls Jairus' daughter to the stand. Please raise your right hand. Do you promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Please state your name for the court.
I am Jewel.
You may be seated.
Prosecution may proceed.
Thank you. Ms. Julia, can you please tell the court how you come to know the accused, Jesus?
Well, when I was about 12 years old, I had been very sick for a long time. My dad, Jairus, was a synagogue ruler, and he was very worried about my health.
Ms. Julia, that doesn't tell us how you come to know the accused.
Okay, you don't have to be so pushy. My dad went to look for Jesus so he could heal me. He begged Jesus to come to our house because I was dying.
So, did you see Jesus heal you?
Jesus always had crowds following him. When he was on his way to our house, someone else who needed to be healed touched him and stopped him before he made it to our house.
So, how do you know this?
Because my mom and dad told me, and they don't lie.
Then what happened next?
Well, my parents heard that Jesus stopped to heal a woman who had been bleeding for 12 years. My dad sent word to Jesus that I had died, and there wasn't any reason for him to come. But Jesus came anyway.
So, you died?
Yes, sir. And when Jesus arrived, everyone was crying. But Jesus asked them why they were sobbing. Because I was not dead, just sleeping. Isn't that awesome?
You consider dying awesome? Did you see Jesus do anything else while he was there?
Yeah. My dad said Jesus told
Your
everyone,
dad said,
except my parents and his disciples, to leave the room. When they left, Jesus took my hand and said, "Little girl, get up." Right away, I stood up and walked around the room. Everyone was amazed. Jesus told my parents to give me something to eat and not tell anyone what happened that day.
This is ludicrous. This child's testimony is all hearsay. And if Jesus did raise her from the dead, totally sorcery.
No, sir. I am testifying to something I know. I am alive because of Jesus.
Your Honor, I have no further questions for this witness.
Mr. Finch, would you like to cross-examine?
No, Your Honor. I accept the witness's testimony.
You are excused.
Thank you.
Sorcery.
Bailiff, call the next witness, please.
The court calls the blind man from the temple steps to the stand.
I ain't blind. Jesus. I can see.
Come on, go, Your Honor.
Do you promise to tell the truth,
I sure do.
the whole truth,
Sure do.
and nothing but the truth?
Nothing but the truth.
Please state your report.
My name is Simon Benai. You may be seated. Thank you, sir. Help me, I'm blind.
Finch, you may proceed.
You comfortable?
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
I sure am.
Simon, would you please tell the court what you used to do for a living?
I didn't make much of a living until lately.
Well then, why was it that you couldn't make a living until lately?
Because I was blind. Couldn't see.
Okay, yeah, that's right. You were blind from birth. So tell us exactly when did you receive your sight?
Well, let me tell you. This is how it was. One day I was sitting there on them temple steps, and I heard these men coming by, and one of them men say, "Rabbi Jesus, why was this man born blind? Was it because of the sins of his parents, or was it a sin that he did in a previous life?" You talking about me.
Before that day, had you ever met Rabbi Jesus?
Never saw him or heard of him before that day. But I knew he was a gentleman by the way he spoke to the men.
Well, what was it about his response that made you think he was a gentleman?
It was a different thought. What he said cleared my parents' name after all them years, and I liked it.
Well, we can all appreciate that. Did Jesus say anything else that day?
Yeah, he said something like, he said, I must do the work of the one that sent me, because the night is coming when no man can work. I didn't even know what that meant.
Is that when you received your sight?
No, not yet, not yet, not yet. Jesus walked up close to me and he put something on my face, felt like clay or something. And he told me to go wash it off.
Did he say you'd be able to see after you washed it off?
No, not yet. But I went down there and I washed that clay off my eyes, just like he said. And just like that, I was able to say.
Wow, that was amazing. How did you handle that miracle?
Objection, Your Honor. Leading the witness.
Sustained.
Okay, I'll answer it a different way. Simon, how did that make you feel?
I was all excited and everything. I started running down. That was the first time I ran in my life. I started running and telling people, Lord, have mercy on me. Gave me my sight back. I could see.
Did anything significantly other happen?
Well, when I turned around, Jesus was gone. I didn't even have a chance to thank him for what he did for me. But then, them Pharisees and them priests were on my back, asking me, who opened your eyes? Who opened your eyes? So I told them, I said, Jesus of Nazareth opened my eyes. Oh boy, they did not like that. They did not like it. They got mad. And they kicked me out of the synagogue.
My.
I can't believe it. The same day that I received my sight from Jesus, they kicked me out of the synagogue. It's a strange world. Man. But you know what? To add insult to injury, Jesus told them Pharisees that he and the Father were one. And that's when the rocks really started flying, y'all.
The fact that Jesus... I'm sorry.
Yes, ma'am. Go right ahead, ma'am.
The fact that Jesus referred to himself as the Son of Man, how did that make the Pharisees feel?
I tell you what, them brothers started throwing rocks and they started saying words and stuff. It just got crazy up in there. It got crazy. That's what happened. But we thank God for my side.
Thank you, Your Honor. I have no further questions for this witness. Prosecutor.
Son,
Yes.
do you recall the day of the week it was that the defendant over there, so-called healed your, gave you sight?
Well, I think it was a Wednesday, Thursday. No, it was Saturday. Yeah, that's what it was. It was on a Saturday that he did it.
Well, isn't Saturday supposed to be the Sabbath?
I suppose so.
Could Jesus have waited until another day to kind of heal you?
Well, I didn't ask him, man.
Can you tell me who else saw you? Who else saw him give you sight?
Who else saw me? We were right in the middle of Jerusalem. Everybody saw me.
In the middle of the city? In the middle of the day on a major Jewish holiday? You know, that looks like an ideal event time to stage for someone to see that this incredible miracle that was happening. You Jesus' follower.
Objection, Your Honor.
Objection sustained.
You one of his followers.
No, wrong.
You one of his followers.
Fake news, fake news.
Sustained.
You're one of his followers.
No,
That would be enough, Councilman.
You never had.
don't you tell me that I wasn't blind.
You was part of
I
it.
know I was blind.
You was part of every bit.
I'm telling you, the God help true. I was blind. Jesus gave me my sight.
You sure Jesus gave you your safe?
Yes.
Honor, I have no more questions for this witness.
You excuse me.
Thank you, sir. Telling me I'm blind. In my state, they supposed to be a blind man. Thank you, Jesus.
May this all next witness, please.
The court calls the woman with the issue of blood to the stand. Please raise your right hand. Do you promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Please state your name for the court.
My name is Victoria.
You may be seated.
Prosecutor, you may proceed.
I'm going to ask you about your relationship with Jesus during your years of illness, okay? Because I imagine you were discouraged, cynical, and suicidal. Are my assumptions correct?
Yes, I tried to stay positive, but it got hard at the 12 years of bleeding nonstop, failed pregnancies, countless trips to doctor after doctor, and living in isolation, all because of a rare sickness.
Oh, yes, it appears you were sick.
I was plagued with the disease and in constant excruciating pain. The smell from my body was so bad, even a skunk would run from me. Yes, you'd be depressed too if you suffered as much as I did.
So what did you do about this sickness, illness of yours?
I had no control over it. I sank deeper into a depression. I started thinking, if there is a God, he truly couldn't care about me or my family to allow this horrible disease to continue for 12 years. I wish I were dead.
You were sick, depressed, abandoned, suicidal, and had nothing to show for your life. And you thought a sorcerer claiming to the Messiah could heal you?
Objection, Your Honor.
Objection sustained.
Let me rephrase it. You expect this court to believe that after visiting doctor after doctor who couldn't heal you, it was your belief that a common man who had no medical experience could heal you.
Yes, but Jesus isn't a common man, if you let me explain.
Oh, you've explained enough. Only witch or sorcerer would be able to heal someone so sick and unclean as you are.
Objection, Your Honor. He is badgering his witness.
Mr. Prosecutor, join the line here.
No further questions, Your Honor. Your witness.
Victoria, I'd like to ask you a hypothetical question. If you had not gotten through the crowd, if you had not touched Jesus' garment, do you think you would have been healed?
I won this one.
Surprisingly, I think of that same scenario myself. Yes, I believe he would have healed me because he would have honored my efforts to reach him.
But he was surrounded by so many people. Even his disciples were around him. How were you able to get through?
I was desperate. I prayed for the strength to press through the crowd. And not only did I reach him, but he reached back to me with physical healing, words of hope, and a new identity.
Wow. So it is your testimony that your faith is what made you whole, because Jesus never really touched you, did he?
Jesus didn't lay a hand on me. But when I touched the hem of his robe, I was set free.
Amen.
He knows our hearts, and he honors our feeble faith. When I think about what he's done for me, He's brought me from.
Yes.
I just thank you, God. I encourage anyone that feels hopeless or afraid to reach out to Jesus today. I was broken, but look at me now. I'm healed.
I have a message for you today. That when you leave here, it won't be the same. So you tell me you've been to your position. Look at you, there's been no change in your condition. Reach out and touch the master's robe. There's healing for your mind, oh, your body and your soul. Yes, there is. Hallelujah. God can heal. God can heal. Oh, yeah. He can heal. And he can mend the broken. He can mend your brokenness. He has a miracle to fit your needs. Won't you trust? About your situation, but with every test and every trial, there is revelation that God is able to supply every one of your needs. He's here to touch it, heal you. He'll set you free. Yes, he will. God, you promised me. Said he would. I can heal. Yes, he can. Oh, you can deliver, Lord. You will make my brokenness. Yeah. To fit your needs. What you gotta want to trust yes, he will. Yes, Lord. So by the time that you leave this building, my prayer for everyone in here is that you'll have your healing. Once God works a miracle to fit your needs, go tell the world what you have received. Hallelujah. And you mended my broken. Give me a miracle. Just to fit my need. Can I get a witness in here? That you can lift your hands and say, thank you for the infirmity. Thank you for the trial. Thank you, God, you're bringing me out of it.
Nancy, do you have any more questions?
No, thank you, Your Honor. I'm finished with this witness.
You may step down. Good job. Ready to call the next witness, please.
The court calls the pig farmer to the stand. Please raise your right hand. Do you promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yeah. Yes, I do.
Please state your name for the court.
Jacob.
You may be seated. Pig farmer.
Your witness, Mr. Prosecutor.
Jacob, please state your occupation.
Man, you already know what I do.
Can you just please state your occupation for the court?
I'm a pig farmer.
Now, do you make a good living at raising pigs?
I used to.
You mean you used to?
And I did just fine until he showed up.
And what did he do?
Look here. There's this area around the Sea of Galilee. They have real good mud over there. We like to keep our hogs there.
But isn't the Sea of Galilee rather long way from your...
Have you ever smelled a pig?
Got it. Let's get back to what Jesus did to your good living.
All right, anyway, so there were these two crazy guys roaming around town. I mean crazy. Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs crazy. So, that is until him and his boys showed up.
So, let's get back a little bit here. What did the town do to those crazy guys?
Well, they tried chaining them down once, but it was so strong, they just broke the chains. So everybody just left them alone.
Oh, did they? So what did Jesus and his crew do
Well,
when they got there?
One of the demon-possessed guys started screaming and hollering, talking about, "You're not supposed to show up here yet, son of God. Why are you giving us a hard time? If you're going to send us out of these here men, we'll send it to those pigs." And guess what? Next thing I know, my pig's acting crazy.
An eyewitness here. So the pigs are acting crazy. How?
Man, they were biting and trampling all over one another. Things got so crazy, they just ran off a cliff.
Oh.
I couldn't believe it.
An eyewitness to Jesus' sorcery here. So what did you do next?
Look, I ain't got nothing. It is all his fault.
So sounds like Jesus and his crew kind of jacked you up, didn't he?
Look, all I know is before he showed up, men were crazy, pigs were straight. But after he came around, men were straight, now my pigs are acting crazy. They were acting like he was their master or something.
So are you saying that Jesus is the master of demons?
Now don't put words in my mouth now. Yes. He must be working under the power of Beelzebub.
Thank you. I have no further witness, no questions for the witness, Your Honor.
Jacob, if the demons believe that he is the Messiah, why don't you?
Son of God, Messiah, he could be, I don't know. But as for me, all I know is making my money, having my hogs was important to us business folks than any spiritual things like that. Son of God, demon-possessed guys, you can have both of them, all I care.
Well, then one last question. What happened to the two crazy guys?
Funny thing. All they did was ask Jesus could they tag along and be part of his crew.
Well, did they follow him?
No. Jesus just told them, just go back home and tell everybody how good God has been to you.
No further questions, Your Honor.
You're excused, Jacob. Next witness, Baylor.
The court calls the crippled woman to the stand. Please raise your right hand. Do you promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I certainly will.
Please state your name for the court.
My name is Hawk, but I ain't crippled no more.
You may be seated.
You may proceed, defense.
Hava, did you attend the teachings in the synagogue on the Sabbath?
Yes, I was in the crowd, but I couldn't see much.
You were in the crowd. What was obstructing your view?
You see, at the time, I had been crippled for 18 long years. My body was permanently bent over. I couldn't stand up straight. I couldn't look upward or forward.
I see. Could you please tell the court what happened on the day in question?
Well, it was the Sabbath, and Jesus was teaching. And he looked over and saw bent over me and called me to him and laid his hands on me. And immediately, I was made straight.
So you're telling the court that your body was bent over, but as soon as Jesus touched you, your body was made straight.
Yes, Jesus touched me. Jesus touched me. And my life has not been the same since. I can see the stars. I can see all his beauty. My life has been changed because of Jesus.
I'm sure. Did anything else happen after Jesus touched you?
Yes. The rulers in the synagogue got right indignant.
There you go then.
Because Jesus healed me on the Sabbath. Can you believe that? They felt as though there were 6 other days in the week that Jesus could have done this here healing. Never mind, I've been crippled all my life. He wanted them to wait.
How did Jesus feel about their indignation?
Jesus called them all hypocrites. He said, don't each one of you lead your ox or your donkey from the stall and water it on the Sabbath? So why then shouldn't this woman, a daughter of Abraham, bound by Satan for 18 long years, be loosed from her bond on the Sabbath?
Did the priest react to Jesus' comments?
You know, it wasn't really much they could do or say. After they heard that, they were all put to shame. They all began to rejoice, especially me, because I know what Jesus had done for me. They wasn't rejoicing no more than me.
Objection, Your Honor. Objection, Your Honor.
Yeah, Lord.
Church and state.
Hallelujah.
Objection,
Yes,
Your Honor.
Lord.
Overruled.
Thank you, Your Honor. Hava, how would you characterize yourself now?
You know, it really doesn't matter if you are crippled or have some other things going on in your life. If you're feeling afraid or hopeless, let me tell you, this same Jesus who healed me, the bent over crippled woman, is pursuing you today. He want to touch you with his transforming power. Mr. Prosecutor, will you trust and believe in him?
Objection, Your Honor.
Just ask him. Because today may very well be all of our last day.
Your Honor, I have no further questions for this witness.
Would the prosecutor like to cross-examine the witness?
No, sir, Your Honor.
You may step down.
Yeah, he don't want to cross-examine. But he don't
Call next witness, please.
The court calls the demon-possessed boy to the stand.
Oh my God, they're bringing a child to the courtroom. My God, my God. In this courtroom coming to Your Honor.
Do you promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Please state your name for the court.
My name is Dorian, and I am not possessed anymore.
You may be seated.
Prosecution, you're a witness.
Mr. Doran, can you please tell the court how you know this man, Jesus?
Well, sir, he saved me.
Saved you? From what exactly?
Well, sir,
Well, boy, spit it out.
a demon, sir.
A demon?
Yes, sir, a demon.
You said that you had a demon inside you?
Yes, sir. Before Jesus saved me, I couldn't even talk. That demon was always trying to kill me.
So why do you think a demon was inside of you, son, young man? Was trying to kill you. Why do you think a demon was trying to kill you, young man?
Well, the demon had control over me from the time I was born.
Are you sure that Jesus didn't put that demon inside of you? Or, even better, was it sins of your father that put the demon inside you? Was it your father?
Stop it! That's my son you're talking to.
Order.
Sir, that type of outburst will not be tolerated in this courtroom. Sir, please take your seat.
Order in the court.
Sir,
Order in the
please
court.
sir,
Order.
please,
Yes,
please
order
take
that gentleman to his seat. Order.
your seat, sir.
Prosecution, you may proceed.
My father's a good man, and he has always tried to help me. Right, Daddy? There was nothing he could do to help me. The demons were super strong, so he took me to Jesus' disciples.
His followers are sorcerers too. I knew it. I knew it.
No. The disciples tried to force the demon at me, but they couldn't do it. My father said that he could see Jesus was upset with his disciples because they couldn't save me.
So, did Jesus get angry with his followers, his disciples?
Yes, sir. My father said Jesus was so upset with his disciples that he said, "You unbelieving generation, how long shall I stay with you? How long shall I put up with you?"
So did his followers do or say anything else to Jesus' threats?
No, sir. But Jesus told my father to bring me to him. My father wasn't sure Jesus could save me until he told him, "Everything is possible for one who believes."
So, Jesus tricked your father into believing into Jesus. Did anything else happen?
Well, the demon forced me to roll on the ground and foam at the mouth. Then Jesus commanded the demon to command me and never enter me again.
So, just like that, Jesus told the demons to leave and they left. And it
Not
did.
exactly. First the demon screamed and shook me and threw me to the ground. Then someone took my hand. It was Jesus. He pulled me up to my feet, and just like that, I was free.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Yeah, right. This child's been brainwashed. He knows.
Objection, the prosecutor, this is a child.
Sustain.
Withdrawn. I have no further questions, Your Honor.
Young man, you're excused. You may step down.
Thank you, Jesus.
Bailiff, call the next witness, please.
The court calls the adulterous woman to the stand. Please raise your right hand. Do you promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Please state your name for the court.
My name is Anna.
You may be seated.
Defense your witness.
Anna, I'm going to cut straight to the chase. You were accused of being an adulteress, weren't you?
Yes, I was accused, never tried. I was just a young girl when my parents married me off to this man I didn't love, and he didn't love me either. Now I hope they don't do that in today's culture.
No, but is that why you became an adulteress?
No. I was young. I was immature, as many of you have been. I made the decision, but I was nobody's wife. I'd never been trained. And he wasn't a good husband either. But one day, I met a man who was kind to me and made me feel special. And I fell in love with him, but that was the beginning of the trap.
The trap that the Pharisees set for you, right?
That's right. They're very cunning and skillful people.
Well, so I've heard. Please tell the court more about this.
One day, it was total chaos. Total chaos, and there was loud shouting and banging and noises from everywhere. And then suddenly, a group of men burst in on me and my lover. And they came and they grabbed me, and dragged me down the stairs. I didn't know what was going on. I was in shock. But then I realized they were taking me to the temple to be stoned. Then I realized something else. They weren't taking that no-good rascal with me.
But doesn't the law state that both partners are supposed to be brought before the king? Did he try to defend you? Did he try to protect you?
No, he wasn't interested in defending me. He just looked at me with a smirk. He didn't do anything to save me because he had gotten all that he wanted.
Anna, please walk us through this painful ordeal. Take your time.
They dragged me. They dragged me down the stairs, down the street. My hands were bound together with rope. My body was bruised, it was bloodied, and even my robe was torn. I mean, it barely even covered my body. I was hysterical. I didn't know what to do by the time we got to the temple and they threw me in front of Jesus. But then even worse than the physical pain, the emotional pain. I was embarrassed, I was abused, and now I had been betrayed.
Betrayal is flat out what it was. Let me ask you this. When you were thrown down in front of the temple, in front of Jesus, did you realize that Jesus was standing there?
Yes. I looked up and I looked into his eyes, and I had hoped that he wouldn't recognize me, but the sadness in his eyes, I knew he did. You see, and I was just so ashamed. And the men who were circling around Jesus were standing there with rocks, ready to stone me to death as soon as Jesus gave the judgment.
What happened next?
I trembled. I was trembling so bad I couldn't stand up. I mean, I didn't know what to do. And so I just cried and I wept at Jesus' feet, not knowing what else to do.
So not one of those accusing men picked up a stone or did anything else. What about Jesus? What did he say?
Jesus didn't say a word. He didn't say a word because you know what? He knew. He knew they were trying to trap him too. So everyone was very quiet. They wanted to see what Jesus would do. But Jesus just knelt down into the sand.
What did Jesus write?
I don't know. I don't know what he wrote. I was so afraid I didn't look up. But then I heard the stones begin to drop. And I heard movement and the shuffling of feet as the men moved away. And I began to just cry and cry at Jesus' feet. And And I knew. And he looked down and he said, "Woman, where are your accusers? Has any man here condemned you?" Well, I opened my eyes for the first time and I looked around and there was no one there but Jesus and I standing there. The men didn't condemn me and Jesus didn't either. His parting words to me was, "Woman, go and sin no more." And because Jesus didn't condemn me, I knew my life had changed. I was new. And I knew I would never, ever go back to that life of sin again.
Presence of the Lord, I've been free, delivered. In your presence, Lord, I found joy, grace, and favor.
Mr. Prosecutor, do you have any questions for the witness?
I have no questions for this witness,
You
Your
may
Honor.
step down.
Thank you, Jesus, for setting me free.
Call your next witness, please.
The court calls the high priest to the stand. Please raise your right hand. Do you promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Of course.
Please state your name for the court.
I am Caiaphas,
You may be
the high priest of Jerusalem.
You may be seated.
Prosecution, you're a witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you, Lord Caiaphas, for being here today. As high priest, are you the final authority on all the religious laws of the Jewish nation?
Yes, I am designated by God to be the primary witness of the laws of Moses to the peoples of Israel.
Did you sentence Jesus to death in his previous trial?
I did. It was my duty to do so. The man was staging magical events, changing water into wine, performing dramatic healing, even claiming to raise people from the dead.
But his followers considered those as miracles.
It was sorcery. Nothing more, nothing less. The man played on the emotion of the simple-minded.
That's right. The Sanhedrin found him guilty of sorcery, right?
No, for blasphemy. He claimed to be the Son of God, the Messiah of whom the prophet told. That is sacrilege and intolerable to us.
And in your expert opinion, his claims are totally out of the question.
Totally. When the Messiah come, he will come in his glory. The man we executed was a criminal.
For this, he deserved to die.
Exactly. We could not ignore the following that Jesus was gathering. We had to destroy him before he destroyed us.
So, in your professional opinion, it was a question of sacrificing one man in order to save an entire nation.
Precisely.
Even though the man claimed to be the Messiah?
Oh, he made many claims, but they were all disproved.
And how are you sure of this, Lord Caiaphas?
The Messiah is God. He is greater than death. He cannot die. That man died, was buried, and came back from the dead as sorcery, plain and simple.
Sorcery, sorcery. That's good enough for me. Thank you. You're a witness.
So, Lord Caiaphas, you had nothing to do with trying to kill Jesus.
Not at all.
You never at any time suspected that he just might be the Messiah.
Never.
Others did.
Some people will believe anything.
I agree, but
if you tell them long enough.
But some people believed that he wasn't the Messiah and came to know him as the Messiah.
It's been my observation. Even intelligent people tend to be very gullible in the matter of religion. But you can rest assured that when the Messiah comes, those of us devoted to the study of the scripture will be the first to know.
Lord Caiaphas, you really didn't care why he died as long as he died.
In the best interest of the Jewish nation, that's right.
Jesus didn't really mince words with anyone, did he? He was about to expose the corruption in your church, Lord Caiaphas, wasn't he?
Absolutely not.
Well, didn't he tell you and the priests, and I quote, "Woe to you, scribes, Pharisees, and hypocrites, because you shut off the kingdom of heaven. You do not go in yourselves, and you block others." You made a mockery of your faith, Lord.
I made a mockery of the faith? What do you know about faith? The Jews have been persecuted and oppressed down through the ages. But we have survived, sustained, because the laws of God have sustained us. Without it, we would crumble.
Aren't you crumbling now?
Jesus continued to rule the law. He undermined the very foundation on which we stand. If I read from Israel, I will not allow it.
I will not allow it. I will not allow it. Another outburst like that, I'll have you removed. Continue.
My apologies, Your Honor. Caiaphas, you quoted the prophets earlier. Perhaps as an authority, you can tell us the source of these following prophecies. Rejoice greatly, O Jerusalem. Behold, your king is coming. He is just and endowed with salvation, and he is humble and riding on a donkey.
That's the prophet Zechariah.
Correct. He was oppressed and was afflicted, yet he did not open his mouth. He was pierced through for our transgressions. He was crushed for our iniquities, and by his stripes we are healed.
That's the prophet Isaiah. So what?
So what? These are just a few of the prophecies that have been spoken, and they've all come true. So I asked you again, did you ever consider that this might be the man that the prophet spoke of?
And I will tell you again, there is no doubt in my mind that Jesus is not the Messiah. As I explained to you earlier, the fact that he died proved me correct.
Okay. All I can say is just that as I cannot prove to you conclusively that he is the Messiah, you cannot prove to me and others that he is not.
Not at all.
No further questions, Your Honor.
You're excused.
Gladly.
Oh, here's the challenge.
Bailiff, call the next witness, please.
The court calls the possessed woman to the stand. Do you promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Please state your name for the court.
My name is Mary Jackson.
You may be seated.
Defense. You may be seated.
Mary, can you tell the court what circumstances led to you to follow Jesus?
Well, I used to be sick. I was afflicted with 7 demons. They used to make me say and do crazy things until Jesus came along and ordered them to leave me alone. When I got my right mind back, I became a devoted follower of his. You see, he loved me despite of my afflictions. And ever since then, I've been following him.
You were present on the day of his crucifixion, is that correct?
Yes, I was. And after the crucifixion, a man named Joseph of Arimathea applied to Pilate for custody of the body. Him and a man from the Sanhedrin took the body from the Roman soldiers, and then they took it to Joseph's tomb and sealed it with a large rock.
Well, did you know what these men planned on doing with the body?
No, we didn't know. We thought his body was going to be thrown in the common grave with the other 2 criminals that were crucified with him. We were surprised.
Why were you surprised?
Because these were the same men that was from the Sanhedrin, the same men that applied for custody of the body. and we didn't know what was going to do. We had so little money, we couldn't afford to bury him properly. I guess you can say we were thankful because even though we saw them at Jesus' teachings, but they never openly declared themselves as followers of his. They were taking a great risk.
So you followed them to the tomb?
Yes, we had to. It was our responsibility to prepare the body for the burial. We needed to know where it had been laid.
But why didn't you prepare the body at that time?
Well, we couldn't. The Sabbath was to begin at sunset.
Oh, okay. So you returned to the tomb the next day?
Yes, at dawn the following day. And as we got close, there was a great earthquake. And when we recovered, we saw that the stone had been moved and that the body was gone. Well, I ran back to the city to tell the others, but no one believed my story. And then Peter and John went to see for themselves, and they saw and they believed, and they said, yes, that it was true.
So, Mary, they left you at the tomb by yourself?
Well, yes, until a man appeared.
What man?
Well, at first I thought it was the gardener. And he asked me, why was I crying and who was I looking for? And through my tears, I asked him where was Jesus' body, as if he was the one who carried it away.
The gardener knew your name?
Well, it wasn't the gardener at all. It wasn't until he spoke my name. He said, Mary.
So, Mary, you're telling us that Jesus died, his body was in the tomb. Someone may think it impossible, but for him to speak your name.
That's right, but Jesus was dead, but he was raised to life again. And nothing is impossible for God.
Even a resurrection?
Especially a resurrection.
Mary, from your mouth to God's ears. Your witness?
Mary, how would you describe your relationship with Jesus?
Well, we knew each other, or I came to know him for about 3 years. He would always invite me to the conversations with him and his disciples.
That's unusual, isn't it?
Well, I mean, women were never invited to join in to talk about the scriptures. I mean, it wasn't customary.
So, did he make you feel important?
Well, he made me feel as if my opinion mattered.
Mary, are you married?
What?
Objection, Your Honor. Marital status has nothing to do with this case.
Overruled.
So, Mary, are you married?
No, I'm not married.
Is there anything else that you can say that your relationship wasn't what we say customary?
Oh, objection.
Okay, all right.
That would be enough, Counselor. Overruled.
You went through a great deal of anguish between the time of the trial and Jesus' crucifixion, didn't you?
Yes, it was a very trying time.
An understatement. I'm sure you endured long hours of waiting from the time that they began until they took him out and put him in front, and they even bartered his life for a known criminal, didn't he?
Well, yes.
Then you watched as he was flogged.
Well, yes, I watched him.
Then you had to bear the time as they had to endure the weight of this cross as he went and stumbled through the street, as they cursed at him and they spit at him.
Yes, but why are you doing this?
Then you were forced to watch as they drove nails through his hands and his feet, and he's hung in agony until he died. You had so much time, so much time, so much time.
Please stop. Sustained.
Thank you.
Mr. Prosecutor, moderate your question, please.
Yes, Your Honor. I don't know what it was. Perhaps a gardener.
No, it was
perhaps somebody else who had come to moan at another tomb. And as you walked and saw that the tomb was rolled away and it was empty, you saw a figure of your Imagination
No,
wasn't.
no, it's not. It was
Yes,
the
it
Messiah.
was.
I know
Yes,
it was. He spoke to me.
Oh, no, Mary. I don't think it's clear that this testimony of this witness is worthless. It's pointless. Her state of mind was just, she's in a state of mind, she's just emotional and involved. So we just cannot take this the witness. No, any hallucination that she experienced while she was going through this cannot be accepted by this court. Your Honor, I have no more questions for this witness.
Your Honor, recross.
You may.
May I approach the witness?
You may.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yes.
So Mary, when you followed Joseph and Nicodemus to the tomb, was there anyone else with you? Was there anyone else with them? And was it dark?
No. The reason why everything was so rushed is because we had to be home before the Sabbath began. And yes, Mary, mother of James, was with me.
So she was with you the next day, is that correct?
Yes, the next day.
So the both of you, having been there in the daylight, knowing where the tomb was, were certain that you were at the right tomb?
Yes, it was the right tomb.
Mary, thank you. Your Honor, I have no further questions.
You excuse me. Next witness, baby.
The court calls the Samaritan woman to the stand. Please raise your hand. Do you promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I will.
Please state your name for the court.
Mara.
You may be seated.
Mara, please tell the court how you became a follower of Jesus.
I was known as Mara on the hot, brutally day, as I saw Jesus sitting on the wall of Jacob. I was only there to draw water from the well. I was surprised to see anyone there that time of day.
What did Jesus say to you as you approached the well?
Strangely, he just asked me for a drink of water.
Did Jesus appear to, wasn't it strange that Jesus would speak to you that day at the well?
I've asked myself that question many times. He didn't seem interested in me like other men were, yet he talked and I listened. He talked about my life and all of its sin.
Well, did Jesus despise you in spite of all of your wretched past?
No, he didn't. In fact, I almost dropped my water pot because he spoke so strangely.
Well, how strange did he speak?
He started talking about living water. I was very confused. He said, "Drink my water and you'll never thirst again." He said, "My Father sits on heaven's throne and looks down on this world with a heart full of love."
What made you think that he was talking about other than regular water?
Honestly, at first I thought if he gave me living water, I would never have to drink from the well again. Then he said, "Go home and tell your husband." And he knew the man I wasn't living with wasn't my husband. I knew something supernatural was going on.
Well, it sounds like you and Jesus had a long conversation. What else did he say?
I asked him his name, and he asked me, "Have I ever heard of the Messiah?" Of course I've heard of the Messiah. Hadn't everyone? Then he said, "I am the one. I am called Jesus." I ran into town and told everyone, the man at the well who claims to be the Messiah.
Wow, how wonderful. How did this change your life forever?
I no longer define my past by my mistakes in my life. No longer bound by the men in my past who only saw my body instead of my spiritual potential. The curse from my lips changed into praise. I even changed my name from Mara, which means bitter, to Abigail, which means joy. I left the well with sin within, but went to the well with sin within and left the well with Jesus within.
Amen.
Just to commune with you. When we gather, nothing else matters. If I can just get through, everything that I need is in you. You're all I need to know. And even though my soul is thirsty, you are the God of the overflow.
Your presence is water.
Presence is water.
Your presence is water.
I need your presence.
Your presence is water.
So come fill me.
Come fill me.
Then fill me. Just need to commune with you. When we gather, yes,
nothing else matters.
If I can just get through to you,
everything that I
need is in you, Jesus.
You're all I need to know.
And even though my soul is thirsty, Lord,
you are the God.
Yes, you are. You're the God of the overflow.
God of the overflow.
Your presence is water.
Your presence is water.
Your presence is water, Jesus.
Your presence is water.
Your presence is water.
Your presence is water.
Oh, come fill me.
Come fill me.
Then fill me. Again, Lord, your
presence is water.
Your presence is water.
Your presence is water.
You're exactly what I need.
Your presence is water.
Yeah, come fill me.
Come fill me.
Fill me again.
Your presence is water.
Oh, your presence.
Your presence is water.
Nothing can compare to you.
Your presence is water.
Oh, come fill me.
Come fill me.
Fill me again. Teach me how to love like you.
Thank you, Abigail. You may step down. Ladies, call the next witness, please.
The court calls the fisherman to the stand. Please raise your right hand. Do you promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Please state your name for the court.
My name is Simon Peter.
You may be seated.
Mr. Prosecution.
Peter, how long did you know Jesus of Nazareth?
For 3 years. I met him at the beginning of his ministry. My brother and I were his first disciples. We heard him teach, and I spoke with him. Then one day, we were working beside the lake, and he came up to us and said, "Follow me."
And what did you do next?
Well, we followed him.
Just like that?
Just like that. We left our work immediately and followed Jesus.
Was it because he thought he was a Messiah?
No, I didn't think he was the Messiah at that time. But there was something about his voice, a sweet spirit that spoke to my heart and said that he was good and that I needed to follow him.
Did you or your brother have any knowledge of the laws of the prophets, the prophecies regarding the coming of the Messiah?
Yes, of course, I had a little.
And who told you Jesus fulfilled those prophecies?
Well, he did, of course.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, my God. What refreshing honesty here. I almost think if I told you I was the Messiah, you would believe me too, huh?
I think not.
And why not? You just much about him as you did me, so why you wouldn't?
Because you don't teach what he taught, and you can't do what he did.
And exactly what did he do?
Miracles.
Yes, a magician again. Hey, there was others who performed such healings as he did, but they weren't the Messiah.
Yes.
But of course not. And what was some of his teachings?
Jesus taught of mercy and of love.
So, late on Thursday night in the Garden of Gethsemane, when the soldiers came and arrested Jesus, what did you do?
I tried to defend him.
How?
I drew my sword and I cut the ear off one of those guards.
Is this the mercy and the love that your Jesus teaches you?
That wasn't his fault.
Sure it wasn't.
That was mine.
Sure it wasn't. What happened after they arrested him?
I followed the guards outside the courtyard where the trial was being held. I didn't want to leave him alone.
You didn't want to leave him alone? Really? You really didn't want to leave him alone? In a case, one of the Galileans walked up to you and said, hey, aren't you one of his followers? What did you say? What did you do?
I said I don't know the man.
So another one walked up and said, you must be one of his followers because of your accent. So
I said I don't know the man. What's your point?
And again, is this the faith that your Messiah inspires in his followers? Does he teach his followers to follow him? And when they're scared?
No.
To deny him?
No. I was scared.
You were scared. Yet you emerged to be one of his leaders of the disciples, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
Didn't he have a nickname for you?
Yes. He called me the Rock.
And what is that rock? What's the meaning of the rock?
Because he said on me, he would build his church. He thought that I would be as solid as a rock.
No, that wasn't what it was because of. Because he knew sorcery. And because of that, he knew that you would be able to roll that rock away and steal his body.
No, that's not true.
I have no more further questions for this, Your Honor.
Oh, boy. Peter, what was Jesus like as a person when you journeyed with him?
Like no other man I've ever met. There aren't any words to describe the loving kindness Jesus showed to everyone.
Well, Peter, what made you believe that Jesus is the Messiah?
Well, if you had witnessed all the miracles I had, you would know without a shadow of a doubt that Jesus was the Messiah. He made the deaf to hear, the blind to see, the lame to walk, the crooked straight. The lepers were healed. I could go on and on. I even walked on water. You know, they spend half their time arguing about the prophecies of the Messiah, but Jesus made it all clear. The Messiah is the conqueror of death.
But the witnesses for the prosecution has said that he died. Can you explain that?
Well, if Jesus didn't die and rise again, then how could he defeat death? Jesus looked death straight in the eye and came through to life again. If that is not a conqueror, then I don't know what is.
Objection, Your Honor. First, we're asked to believe that a person rose from the dead, and now he's come back to earth. That's preposterous, yo. That's preposterous.
That would be for the jury to decide, Mr. Prosecutor.
Thank you. Your Honor, the defense rests.
You know, I may have denied Jesus in the beginning, but Jesus never denied me. My faith in Jesus grew as I followed him. And I will never again deny my Jesus. Jesus, I love you then, and I love you now.
Bailey, please call the next witness.
The court calls the mother of Jesus to the stand.
This is preposterous.
Please raise your right hand. Do you promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Please state your name for the court.
I am Mary, proud mother of Jesus.
You may be seated.
Prosecution, you may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mary, how do you come to call him the Son of God?
Well, an angel came to me and said that I was highly favored, and among women that I would be blessed with grace from God.
What exactly does all this mean? Grace from God. Really? Come on.
My heart still pounds in my chest when I think of it. Little Mary from Nazareth. I love the Lord God with all my heart, with all my soul, with all my strength. But even so, how could I have found favor with my sovereign Lord?
So Mary, you want this court to believe that God chose you to give birth To the Son of God, Messiah? This is ridiculous, everybody.
Your Honor,
This is
I object.
ridiculous.
The prosecutor's not even standing. He's badgering a witness.
Sustained. On the badgering part.
I carried the promise in my heart, the promise for me and the promise for the whole world. From the prophet Isaiah, behold, a virgin will be born with a baby, and they shall call him Emmanuel, God with us. And that is exactly what happened. I gave birth to my sweet baby Jesus in a manger in Bethlehem. He was always my little boy, but as a man, he was so patient with me. I had known God's plan for him before he was conceived. His ministry broke my heart in so many ways. I wanted to keep him near me. I wanted to keep him safe. I wanted to be his mother. He was my firstborn.
So, Mary, all these things that he did, you never had any control of what your son was doing, did you?
No, sir. My son didn't need a mother. He needed to save the world. My heart ached to draw him near to me as a son, but his heart ached worse to draw us near to him and to keep us safe.
I have no further questions. This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous.
Mary, for the record, please tell us what type of person Jesus is.
Well, you see, that would take a lifetime.
Objection, Your Honor. We don't have time for all this.
Overruled.
Yes, since I'm standing here. Can you tell us a few items or a few things about Jesus you would like us to know?
Well, I remember the day he was born.
Well, yes, background is good for us to know. A person's motive as well as their character.
Well, it's not exactly a mother's dream to see her child born in a manger in the world in a stable. It's not what you would envision for a king. But the night was majestic in so many ways. We had our perfect baby. It seemed like the world stood still. Even I wondered what would become of this child. Despite the circumstances of his birth, it was impossible not to see something beyond us. Then he grew up to be such an amazing young man. He even managed to captivate the scholars.
Was there ever a time, though, Mary, that you thought that he might not be the king that they spoke of?
I question it at times. It just seems surreal. But once he started fulfilling his purpose, I came to fully believe that he was an amazing prophet. He was the Messiah.
Mary, how often did you see Jesus after he left home?
I didn't see much of him after he left home. Occasionally, I would travel to where he was preaching and teaching. I always stayed in the background because I did not want to interfere with his work.
Well, did you ever see the interaction between Jesus and the Pharisees?
Of course. The Pharisees always taunted him. They would ask him what they considered trick questions. Once they questioned him about the disciples not washing their hands before a meal.
Well, what was his response?
He answered them with a question. Why do you break the command of God for the sake of your tradition? Then he told them, it is not what goes in the mouth that makes you dirty, but what comes out.
And how did the Pharisees like that?
Not well. Not long after that, I heard my Jesus showed a rare moment of anger when he arrived at the temple in Jerusalem.
Mm-hmm.
He was outraged at the injustice of vendors using the temple courts to oppress the poor.
Well, how did Jesus react when he got angry?
I heard my Jesus flipped over chairs, tables, and merchandise. Then he told them, "It is written in my house, it will be called a house of prayer, and you are making it into a den of thieves." Jesus taught the next day from early morning to late evening the greatest commandment, that you shall love the Lord God with all your heart, with all your mind, and with all your soul, and love your neighbor as yourself.
Well, Mary, one last question. What was it about Jesus' message that made so many people love him?
My Jesus taught love. What is there to fear about that? No matter what you think your situation may be, how bad you think you are, what bad things you have done, nothing can separate you from his love. He represents a God of a second chance. My son helped people. He didn't hurt people. He came to save sinners and lost souls that we might have life and have it more abundantly. He loved us so much that he was willing to suffer and die on the cross for you and for me. There is no greater love. There is no greater love than a man who would lay down his life for a friend.
You may step down. Bailiff, is there another witness?
No, Your Honor.
Prosecution?
Prosecution rests, Your Honor.
Defense?
Defense rests, Your Honor.
Does your client wish to testify in his own behalf?
No, Your Honor.
Do you not want to answer any of those who accuse you? This is very strange for an innocent man to remain silent against such accusations. Is this what all your teachings amount to? Silence in the face of evidence?
If I were to tell you, you would not believe. If I would ask you a question, you would not answer.
Well, I will ask you one last time. Are you the Messiah?
Who do you all say that I am?
Jesus, you are my Redeemer. Give us sight. Jesus.
The members of the jury have reached the verdict. Jesus is the Messiah. This case is dismissed.
person sitting to the left and the right of you can testify of the goodness of Jesus.